Are you moving towards transcendence, or are you engaged in spiritual bypassing? Spiritual bypassing is when a person uses spiritual ideas to avoid looking at dysfunctional psychological patterns. Here are 3 examples, and you can decide for yourself whether or not they apply. All right, example number 1. Yes, anger does arise fairly often, and it can offend other people, that's true. But it was the way I got conditioned. It's just who I am. This conditioning was absorbed in innocence during my youth, but since I didn't consciously take it on, I'm not really responsible for it. And in any case, I'm a spiritual person now, and I realize that I'm pure consciousness and ultimately unencumbered by the conditioning of this body-mind. I've now transcended identification with this anger, and therefore it's no longer a problem. This is using spiritual insights that are somewhat true. However, if you leave a wake of friction and disturbance behind you, you haven't transcended anything. Example 2. I often feel anxious. I'm a sensitive person and react to the social and political controversies raging on. When I listen to the news a lot, I get even more anxious. That stress causes significant health issues, which is another thing for me to worry about. I deal with that by meditating. I've gotten really good at it and can temporarily quiet the mind, and this keeps the anxiousness at bay for a little while. But when I get up off the cushion, the anxiety soon returns. This is using a spiritual practice to temporarily sedate underlying patterns which remain unaddressed and which will continue to cause energetic problems. As long as we avoid looking at the true source of a pattern, we will be doomed to repeat it. Example number 3 of spiritual bypassing. I've learned that there is ultimately no doer. It's all one consciousness functioning through us all. Therefore, whatever I do is really the will of the totality. If other people don't like what I do or say, they just don't understand how reality works. But me, hey, I'm fine. This is an example where a person abdicates all responsibility for their behavior and misappropriates spiritual lessons. They're hopelessly lost in their beliefs, but imagine they exist in some high spiritual state. Dangerous to those nearby, and if they happen to be charismatic, they can be especially dangerous to the world at large. Spiritual bypassing has become much more of a problem in modern times. In earlier times, advanced spiritual teachings were given only after years of practice involving moral restraint, selfless effort, and compassionate caring. Now advanced teachings are given freely on the internet where seekers can pick and choose and decide for themselves how advanced they are. The antidote is a good dose of humility, self-honesty, and a willingness to explore any pattern that consistently creates friction.